Hey guys, how you going? My name is Dom and today I'm going to be showing you how to create these two loading spinners right here using CSS. Alright, so this solution is going to be very straightforward and you can easily add it on your own websites or projects. Okay, so going inside this tab right here, let's begin from scratch to create what we just saw. Going inside the text editor, I've got a blank HTML file. Alright, so the first step is going to be to create a new div inside my body. So this div right here is going to have a class of loading. So now basically using CSS, we're going to convert this div right here into that animated loading spinner. Okay, so basically wherever you want a loading spinner, you simply specify this div with a class of loading and the CSS is going to give you the loading spinner. So with that being said, going up inside the CSS, let's target the class of loading. So for this loading class, the first step here is going to be to set a width and height. We're going to say width of 50px and the same goes for the height. That way we get a perfect square. Then we're going to say background. Let's make this 009578, so my decode green color. I'm going to save this right here and go back in the browser, and of course we get something like this. So now let's convert this square into the circle. Going back inside here, we can achieve this by specifying a border radius of 50%. So if I save this and go back, we now have the circle. Quite straightforward. The next step now is going to be to simply detail the animation. So we're going to be using CSS3 animations for this. So with that being said, let's go down here and we're going to say at keyframes. So with at keyframes, we're able to define what the animation is going to look like. So basically what CSS properties are going to change. So in this case right here, I'm going to be calling the animation something like loading animation. So you can call this whatever you like. You can even keep it at loading if you wish to, but I'm going to call mine loading animation. So now inside here, we simply specify the three states or however many states you want for the animation. So in this case right here, going back to the first example, so creating this spinner right here, this requires basically three steps in the animation. The first one, if I go down here, I'm going to be saying 0%. So basically at the very beginning of the animation, we're going to be having an opacity of 0 on that circle. So basically the circle is going to start being fully invisible. Then we're going to say transform and make this scale. So scale right here, we're going to be setting the scale to be 0. So basically the circle is going to be invisible, and also a scale of 0 is going to make it invisible anyway. Okay, but we need to keep this opacity just so we have a nice fade as we move on to the next phase. So the next phase is going to look like this. We're going to say 25%. Then we're going to say right down here opacity 1. So basically it's going to be at a full opacity at this 25% mark of the animation. Okay, so we're going to see how this works shortly, but for now let's just finish off this this section. The last one right here, 100%. So when the animation is complete, the opacity is going to be 0 and this transform or the scale is going to be back to 1. So basically this right here is going to give us the full-on, fade out as it grows effect, like we're seeing inside the example right here. Okay, perfect. So with that being said, let's now get the animation working on this circle. To achieve that, going to go up here and we're going to be saying animation. We're going to set this to be loading animation. Then we're just going to say right here 1 second and then infinite. Okay, so with this being said, we're saying that the animation is going to take a total of 1 second to complete and it's going to go on forever. So now saving this and going back in the browser, we can see we get the animation right there. Alright, so let me slow it down. So we can do this by setting, for example, 5 seconds, and this should allow us to more clearly see these three phases. So basically, what this 5 seconds is saying is that it's going to take 5 seconds to go from 0% to 25% to 100%, and it's going to do these three things. So going back, we can see it begins at the very small 0% opacity right there. It goes to full opacity, then it fades out in the last 75% as we have detailed. Okay, so of course you can customize this and make it whatever you like. I'm going to put this back to 1 second, and we're going to be having a look now at the second version, which I put right down here. So this second spinner type. So for this one, it's going to be a very similar story. So going back inside here, the 0% for this one is going to remain the same. This 25% though, it's going to be a transform of scale and make this 1. So basically, it's going to give a full pop, okay, at 25%. Then it's going to go back to 0 opacity, and it's also going to go back to essentially what we have at the very beginning. Okay, so we have this clear defined animation for this. So now, if I save this and go back, we can see that it kind of looks okay, but it doesn't look exactly how this looks. So the reason for that is because I haven't changed the duration. So for this particular type, I prefer to make a half second duration, so 0.5 seconds, and also I want to change the timing function. So I'm going to keep it at this right now. And go back inside here, we can see we get something like this. So this is actually exactly how this looks right now. Okay, but if you wanted to, you can change the timing function. If, for example, you would like it to be linear instead, this just defines exactly how the animation plays out in terms of these specifics. I can't tell you much more on that because I'm no expert when it comes to animation, but essentially it changes the curve at which the animation occurs at. So if I save this here, we can see we actually get a different look. So this might be a preference to you. It is much more linear in terms of, how the animation plays out. But there you go, guys. That is how to create those two loading spinners right there using pure CSS. Like I mentioned earlier, the code is available below if you want to download it. If you liked today's video, drop a like and also subscribe to Decode. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.